What do you get when you mix queer space adventures with a magical Labrys? Let's find out in Lesbian Space Princess. Excited to dive into today's topic.
And I'm Garrett, equally pumped for this one.
Welcome to Laid Back Learning with Leah and Garrett.
Today, we're exploring the colorful and groundbreaking world of Lesbian Space Princess.
Before we get into the details, you were telling me you caught this at a festival recently. What stuck with you the most?
Yeah, so I recently watched Lesbian Space Princess at a film festival, and honestly, the mix of fast jokes and real feelings kind of hit me. The big thing that stuck was the Labrys, which is this double-headed axe that's a longtime lesbian and feminist symbol. In the movie, it appears when the heroine believes in herself and blips out when she doubts. That's pretty cool, right? It turns her mental health into like an actual game mechanic. I walked out thinking about confidence, like it was a rechargeable battery.
Let's set the scene. Lesbian Space Princess is an Australian adult animated science fiction comedy from 2025. Adult animation here just means it's made for grown-ups with mature humor and themes. It centers queer characters, it's splashy and bright, and it folds self-acceptance into a space quest. Think Adventure Time meets Sailor Moon with a queer twist and a lot more club energy.
And it didn't just pop up out of nowhere. It world premiered at the Berlin International Film Festival in the Panorama section. Panorama is Berlinale's home for bold, independent voices. Then it won the Teddy Award, which is the festival's major prize for LGBTQ+ cinema. Winning a Teddy at your world premiere is like being told by the global queer film community, hey, you nailed it.
Why is that such a big deal, though? I mean, awards are nice, but what does the Teddy do in practical terms?
Totally fair question. The Teddy is a signal.
Let's get into how it came to be, because that path is pretty fascinating. The film started in Film Lab New Voices, a program from the South Australian Film Corporation and the Adelaide Film Festival. The SAFC is a state screen agency that funds and mentors projects. Film Lab New Voices pairs teams with mentors and development support. It's designed to launch first features. That's the incubator that greenlit this one back in 2021.
The directors, Emma Ho Hobbs and Leela Varghese, not only directed but also wrote it. Varghese had previously won at Tropfest, which is a big short film competition in Australia, and Ho Hobbs comes from visual arts, which helps explain the bold design. Together, they built something that balances character-driven comedy with eye-popping style. The producer is Tom Phillips from We Made a Thing Studios, which backs creator-led projects in South Australia. So you've got this tight, local team leveling up through the lab.
And then they scaled. There were sold-out previews at the Adelaide Film Festival. They connected with the Cannes Marché du Film, which is basically the big film market where producers meet distributors. Then the world premiere in Berlin's Panorama. That's the arc, local incubator to international spotlight. Real talk, that's the dream ladder for a first feature.
All right, plot time. We follow Syra, voiced by Shabana Aziz. She's an anxious, introverted princess from the planet Clitopolis, raised by two lesbian queens, Anne and Leanne. Her ex, Kiki, voiced by Bernie Van Thiel, gets kidnapped by the straight white Malians. That name is a joke and a half. They're voiced by Auntie Donna, an Australian sketch comedy trio known for absurdist humor. The Malians want to bait Syra into using her royal Labrys to power their device, the so-called chick magnet.
Here's where it gets really interesting. The Labrys, that double-headed axe symbol, only shows up when Syra believes in herself, so her self-worth literally controls her power. She steals a snarky starship called the Problematic Ship, voiced by Richard Roxburgh. It starts as a messy ally and becomes a real friend by the end. Along the way, she rescues Willow, a former gay pop idol who uses they and them pronouns, voiced by Gemma Chua Tran. They connect, they even hook up, but the film doesn't force a perfect relationship bow on it.
Blade enters next, a drag queen mentor played by Queen Kong. Blade helps Syra practice self-kindness to summon the Labrys, then betrays her and steals it. Syra and Willow fight back and decapitate Blade, which sounds wild, but in this animated campy tone, it plays like a theatrical gag instead of gore. And later, Blade shows up alive in family therapy during the credits. That's the film's vibe in one move. Conflict, spectacle, then repair.
Why make the Labris tied to feelings like that? Why not just a standard space laser and call it a day?
Because it turns therapy language into action stakes. If self-doubt makes the weapon vanish, then battles are really about inner talk. It pulls from magical girl anime traditions like Sailor Moon, where transformation items reflect personal growth. So when Syra learns self-compassion, she literally powers up. It's clean storytelling, kids at heart can track it, and adults feel the metaphor land.
The emotional spine keeps tightening. Syra even trades her Labris to save Kiki, then Kiki says we shouldn't get back together. That's a brave beat. Syra crashes into self-doubt, the Labris vanishes, then she regains her footing and re-summons it. And the twist is she uses that power to run the villain's chick magnet in a way that kind of boomerangs on their whole deal. They decide they've been chasing the wrong validation and choose each other as a throuple, a romantic trio.
The way the film resolves is very kind. No punitive smackdown, more like, go do your work over there. Syra returns to Clitopolis single, more social, and genuinely okay with herself. There's group therapy with her moms and Blade, Willow drops a hit album inspired by Syra, and the problematic ship is now a real ride-or-die companion. It's closure without slamming doors, boundaries plus community repair.
Let's talk craft. It looks and moves like a dream. The team animated in Toon Boom Harmony, which is pro-level 2D software. Harmony lets you rig characters for expressive acting and layer effects. They also did high-end compositing, meaning they stack visuals to add glow, color density, and particles. That's why the club scenes and battles feel rich without losing clarity.
Editing by Ben Fernandez, a Flinders University grad, keeps the tempo snappy while making space for Syra's anxiety. Music from Michael Darren and Matthew Hadley threads shiny pop with space adventure. There's even an original song called Here I Go that later got awards attention. The whole package is tight, which matters when you're juggling jokes, action, and heart.
Okay, let's wade into the spicy question. Was the film timely, or did it arrive late to the edgy adult animation party? Some folks say the 2010s were the peak, and styles like this crested already. I'll go first. I think its freshness and charm are timeless. The Guardian, a major UK outlet, praised how it balances wit and deep feeling. For me, emotional clarity outlives trends. A joke-dense space odyssey that teaches self-worth is going to resonate whenever you meet it.
I hear that, but I'll play the other side. Inverse, which covers tech and pop culture, argued it felt a bit late compared to earlier adult animation waves. IndieWire gave it a solid B-, noting visual charm and the anxiety portrait. But if it had landed 5 years earlier, maybe it would have found a bigger mainstream splash. Timing shapes how crowded the conversation is.
Why does timing matter that much, though? If people love it, they love it. Does being late to a trend actually change the experience?
It can affect visibility. Distributors and platforms compare new projects to recent hits. If the market's cooled on a style, budgets and marketing push might shrink. But this film still converted buzz into deals. Fandor in the US, Peccadillo Pictures in the UK and Ireland, and others across Europe and Asia. It even rolled onto VOD platforms, including Prime Video, in November 2025. So yeah, maybe the macro trend dipped, but this one still cut through.
And it won the Teddy at Berlinale and the Gio Audience Award for Best Australian Feature at Sydney Film Festival. That's audiences and juries both saying, we're in. For me, that settles the heart of the question. It's less about timing and more about execution.
Pop culture threads time. The film is in conversation with Revolutionary Girl Utina, Sailor Moon, and Neon Genesis Evangelion for the big identity and transformation beats. And in the Western lane, you feel shades of Adventure Time, The Midnight Gospel, Rick and Morty, Steven Universe, and BoJack Horseman. It borrows the right grammar, but speaks in its own accent.
And comedy-wise, Auntie Donna voicing all three Malians is a stroke of chaos. For anyone new, Auntie Donna is an Australian trio whose sketch style is gleefully absurd. Their bickering brings a local flavor that heightens the satire of insecure masculinity. It's silly, it's sharp, and it keeps the tone buoyant, even when the plot pokes at real feelings.
Counterfactual time. What if Film Lab New Voices hadn't greenlit this in 2021? I think the movie still could have existed, But without that incubator, it might not have moved as fast or as confidently. Labs give structure, mentorship, and credibility. That credibility likely helped secure the Panorama slot and downstream sales. Without it, we might be talking about a web series or a longer development cycle instead of a Berlinale winner.
I can see that. I also think this team might have carved another path, maybe smaller grants, maybe a TV development track, but the exact trajectory we saw was pretty unique. They had Artisan Post Group at Lot 14 in Adelaide for finishing, which is a serious post facility, and the Harmony pipeline let them deliver a polished 2D feature on an indie budget. The lab basically braided all those resources together at the right moment.
Why is a lab-style incubator different from standard funding, though?
Because it's not just money, it's guided development, producer mentorship, market visibility, and deadlines that keep momentum. Think of it as a greenhouse. You can grow a plant outside, sure, but the greenhouse gives you ideal conditions so the plant flowers faster and stronger. Thanks for joining us on this journey through Lesbian Space Princess. Stay curious and keep learning.
So there we have it. That ties it up nicely.